Welcome to this explainer. Okay, I am so incredibly excited to dive into a story today that completely flips the script on what it actually means to be a genius. We're going to explore how Thomas Edison's legendary success, and I mean the kind of success that literally lit up the world, was actually built on a solid foundation of repeated, grueling, and highly educational failures.
Let's start right off the bat with a quick thought experiment. What if the world's most famous inventor was actually considered, well, too slow to learn? Sounds kind of crazy, right? We naturally think of Thomas Edison as this unparalleled, flawless genius. But his story actually begins in 1847 in the small town of Milan, Ohio, where he was anything but a star student. So get ready, because I really want to challenge your assumptions about what it takes to achieve greatness.
All right, Section 1, the curious misfit. Let's get into it.
So young Thomas was just wired differently. In a very traditional 19th century classroom setting, his endless, out-of-the-box questions didn't make him a prodigy. Actually, they made him a total anomaly. This created a really stark contrast in how authority figures viewed him. To his teachers, he was slow and difficult to teach. I mean, they were basically ready to just give up on him. But his mother? She saw a boy who was special and wildly curious. Instead of accepting the school's harsh verdict, his mom pulled him out and decided to educate him right at home. And that single, absolutely crucial intervention? It completely saved his profound love for learning.
Free from the rigid constraints of a traditional classroom, Edison absolutely thrived. He built a tiny laboratory right inside his own house. His mother's constant encouragement led him to spend hours upon hours just devouring science books and conducting these unorthodox, highly messy but super practical experiments. His curiosity, which the school tried so hard to crush, was now operating in overdrive.
Moving right along to Section 2, a life-changing skill.
As Thomas grew older, the reality of life set in. The home experiments were foundational, sure, but he needed to actually support himself. So he entered the workforce with the exact same relentless energy he applied to his reading. And his path to invention was definitely not a straight line. In his early days, Edison hustled by selling newspapers and snacks on trains. But he didn't waste his downtime. He kept reading and experimenting right there in the railcars. Then, this massive turning point happens. He spots a young boy in the path of a moving train and literally risks his own life to save him. The boy's incredibly grateful father wants to reward him, and he does this by teaching Edison how to operate a telegraph machine. This brand new career as an operator serendipitously introduced him to the worlds of electricity and communication, and it completely changed his trajectory forever.
Which brings us to Section 3, the value of failure. Now, Edison wasn't just tapping out messages as a telegraph operator. He was working these grueling hours in various cities, mastering the really complex ins and outs of electricity. Being surrounded by this new tech fueled a burning desire to actively invent new devices and improve existing ones. But early on, he faced a pretty grim reality. We tend to skip straight to the success part of the story, but his early career was fraught with massive missteps. He created inventions that just did not work at all. He built others that technically functioned, but absolutely no one found them useful. And because of this long string of duds, friends and investors actually lost faith in him. He faced huge setbacks and a complete loss of public confidence. Honestly, most people would have packed it up right there.
But crucially, how he responded to this changed everything. This is what we call Edison's method. Failure wasn't a stop sign, it was a vital lesson. It was just data that taught him something critical. Information to be used to refine his ideas rather than cause discouragement. He completely reframed the very concept of failure, turning it from a roadblock into an absolutely necessary stepping stone.
Armed with this bulletproof mindset, he leveled up. He established a facility in Menlo Park, New Jersey, which basically became one of the world's very first dedicated research laboratories. Because he wasn't afraid to fail, he was able to gather incredibly talented people, bring them all to Menlo Park, and collaboratively tackle the world's most difficult technological problems as a unified team.
All right, Section 4, the electric light bulb.
This was his ultimate challenge, you guys. His white whale. A practical, affordable electric light bulb. At the time, electric lights technically existed, but they were a complete mess, either burning out instantly or costing an absolute fortune to run. To find a practical solution, they had to discover the perfect filament. And the team tested literally thousands of materials. Day after day, they experimented. Week after week, they failed. Month after month, they continued. Just imagine the grueling, monotonous struggle of sitting in that lab, testing a material, watching it burn up, documenting the failure, and having to start all over again. Thousands of times.
This brings up a really intense question for all of us. How do you succeed when the world is laughing at you?
Because make no mistake, that is exactly what was happening to Edison. The dramatic tension was incredibly high. Newspapers started publicly criticizing his efforts. Skeptics boldly claimed the project was scientifically impossible. The outside pressure to just throw in the towel and admit defeat was absolutely immense.
But, and this is what makes him a true historical legend, Thomas Edison absolutely refused to quit. After countless, agonizing experiments, they finally found it, a material that could glow for a long time without burning out quickly. That relentless iteration, that stubborn refusal to accept failure as final, resulted in the electric light bulb finally becoming a reality. The team found the exact solution that literally transformed our world.
Section 5. A lasting legacy. Think about the massive, real-world impact of this single breakthrough. Suddenly, homes, streets, and businesses could be illuminated safely and efficiently. Human productivity and daily life were changed forever. But true to his nature, Edison didn't just retire to a beach somewhere. Over 1,000. That is the sheer volume of patents he went on to earn throughout his lifetime. He didn't stop with the light bulb. He continued inventing, making massive improvements to the phonograph, and even laying the groundwork for motion picture technology. His curiosity remained just as active as it was when he was a young boy in Milan, Ohio.
Whenever people asked him about his success, the fame and the immense wealth, he always pointed back to hard work, not raw talent. His core ethos is summarized perfectly in his legendary quote, "I have not failed, I have simply found many ways that did not work." Every so-called failure was just data. It was just another step on the roadmap pointing him toward the right answer.
So why does this matter for you and me? Well, Edison's journey gives us a highly practical framework for whenever we face our own doubts or setbacks today. First, believe in yourself, just like Edison's mother believed in him when the so-called authority figures didn't. Second, learn from failure. Don't hide from it, study it. And third, keep moving forward. Success rarely comes overnight, but it might be much closer than you think if you just run one more experiment.
Thomas Edison passed away in 1931, but his inventions surround us every single day. Every time you switch on a light, it represents a man who stubbornly refused to give up. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If success is simply finding the ways that don't work, what failure are you willing to learn from today? Embrace the process, keep iterating, and hey, thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll catch you on the next one.